Got together with our different committees, our education committee, arts, parks, public spaces, housing. Everyone got together and tried to figure out what worked and what looked good. And so we had meetings, and the meetings were so electric. And they were electric because we saw things and possibilities, and then all of a sudden you start to feel like it was yours.
We actually have talked about it for probably 6 years. Because obviously we had a quality of life planning process and came out with a quality of life plan. Well, a quality of life plan isn't an area. And as you know as well as anyone, there are a lot of neighborhoods and really strong identifiable neighborhoods. And so we've had this struggle about how do we have a brand that doesn't dilute the neighborhoods, but shows that we're unified. And so the new branding does that beautifully. And as we've talked, it's an addition. So Marian University, part of Near Northwest. It doesn't mean we're not still Marian. It doesn't mean Riverside neighborhood isn't still Riverside neighborhood. So I think it's blended it perfectly, and it's creating a nice transition. We're not a plan anymore.
We work very closely with lots of community partners here in the Northwest area, as well as families and other organizations, to make sure that we are all one big ecosystem, serving one goal to further the opportunities of everyone in the Northwest area.
Groundwork Indy has been asked to assist with taking care of our public spaces, and that includes not just our sidewalks and streets, but also our parks. And we have Riverside Regional Park, which is larger than Central Park right here in this community. We have Watkins Park, we have Frank Young Park, we have all these spaces that really, if they're well taken care of, really add to the quality of life.
When I first came over, the street was a mess. A lot of trash and so on and so forth in the area. And I started cleaning up the neighborhood by myself, walking the street. The neighbors, all the neighbors in the neighborhood started cleaning up themselves. And therefore, it helped me not to have to clean up myself. And to this day, our neighborhood is clean because of just engaging with people.
The impact of Groundwork Indy can be seen in the food that's being grown in the community. It can be seen in the cleanliness of some of our public spaces. There's just a lot of ways that we engage with community efforts here.
We've committed our church to be a community church and to be involved in the process of restoring that neighborhood.
I've always either attended many of the meetings that have been held in the Northwest area or sent a representative quite often to many of those meetings so that we can have that one-on-one contact, that open lines of communication where we can work together to improve the quality of life.
I always felt like my voice wasn't going to make a big difference. And so now, in the last 3 years, I've been invited to help out with the planning of the park and also helping out with the arts, parks, and public spaces. And it has been a big deal, mainly because now I actually feel like my voice and my actions are actually making a difference.
To see some of the residents who before that process were doing other things, but now they were doing positive things, man, that just did my heart glad. And most importantly, the church has to be a place where the community can come and feel safe.
What we have today is an opportunity to plant the seeds for tomorrow, because what we plant today becomes the strong survival seeds of tomorrow. That's why it's important to know where we come from.
I like to stand up and quote data, but what's more important to me is how safe people in the community feel. When I hear people in the community say, which we have heard, that things have gotten a lot better, then we know we're on the right track.
Our biggest population are the kids, and they walk from the neighboring schools. Just getting them involved and getting them to really open up and know that we're kind of like a family. You know, I tell them all the time, I said, this is your center, this is your place So make sure you take care of it.
We like that kind of recreation of what's starting to happen in the neighborhood and the portrait that's being painted. And, we just really are enjoying and pushing being able to bring new people to the area, to retain the folks who've been there, who've been, in it for a long time, to grow it so that there are some new faces and some new flavors in the space.
It's about being collectively unified, right? And it's being able to have the benefit of the doubt that even if we don't agree with each other philosophically from time to time, I have a moral obligation to believe that you truly do want what's best for this neighborhood or community.
From the many corners of the near Northwest area, from education, which is obviously dear to my heart, to the entrepreneurial spirit of some of the organizations and shops that we have here, as well as some of the vibrancy of the homegrown, self-grown community spirit that we have here. So I'm really excited about the trajectory of the near Northwest area, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
After a lot of years of a lot of hard work, I think the seeds we planted are starting to sprout. So that's what I see, is that this whole community then will do whatever they want to do, but they'll have the tools.
I would like for people to remain in this area and not have to move to another location because they feel that the housing stock or services are better in those areas. I want people to be able to remain here.
We plan to continue to be in the community for as long as the community will have us. And we will do whatever we have to do to be a part of the community.
We need to take our neighborhood back. I'm not going to dwell on how it got there. I just want to focus on where we're at and where we're going. And so I think together, and it's going to take everybody working together, we're going to make this thing work.
We will continue to have good neighbor involvement and keep old neighbors engaged who have been engaged for many years through the process, and also get new neighbors engaged, both those who have lived here for a long time and those who are new coming.
I see a lot more stepping up. I see a lot more inclusiveness. I see a lot more progress. I don't think this neighborhood has had so many things happening all at once on such a large scale. And right now it's crucial that more people get involved and more people stand up, because those things that are happening, they won't happen unless we do it together.
One of the largest things that I see our organization doing is setting up for the next generation and making sure that our children have all the available things that they need to have positive outcomes in their lives, such as education, knowing when and where to do the right thing, and how to make the right choices in giving and sharing.
One of the things I was so impressed with when I first came here is, first of all, the natural beauty of this area, which is unlike anywhere else. The proximity, really, to everything, honestly, and the diversity in every sense of the word. I mean, we have 91 churches in this area. We have a mosque down the street. We have every kind of school you could think of. We have every kind of recreational thing. It is just so rich with opportunities and ideas. And I want everybody to feel that as power and then harness that, because I think the potential here is greater than honestly anywhere else.
A level of resilience and strength that is so incredibly abundant that you can feel it in every street, every corner, every conversation that you have with people.
I haven't been this excited. It's a personal thing for me, because I went 40 years without knowing what my purpose was. And I get up and actually, no matter how much fighting I have to go through, no matter how many meetings I have to go through, no matter how many appointments I have to go, I still go to them, and I'm actually happy, and I'm actually more energized when I end the day, as opposed to making a bunch of money somewhere where I just didn't care about being there. This is a big deal for me.
I think this is the place.